In this video, we're going to take a look at a black ink by Atramentis Document Black. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also, down in the description is a link to the black ink playlist, so if you want to see more, you can find that there. Now, I'm an ink guy, and let's get into the first writing sample done on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, no color variation. It's very solid performing as that goes. The extra fine took 4 seconds to dry. The medium took 7. The scrubby of the medium is showing some color variation, a little bit far left to far right. We do not get it. The extra fine shows none, and we got none. And the smear test, you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Noodler's Charlie was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, slight tone variation as the extra fine is lighter than the stub while the medium's the same tone. The extra fine took 7 seconds to dry, medium took 11 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both are giving us no color variation and we get none, and the smear test you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down and then it's put into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that there is the above and below from where that line of ink was put down, and that's because it's quickly trying to bond with this paper. What pushes up pushes at a fairly uniform tone, meaning that it is bonding as it's moving. Now the one on the right that's let dry for 10 minutes before it's dunked in the water, all of it stays right there in the line, none of it moves. This is going to be a very permanent ink. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade. They're all the same tone. The extra fine with 5 seconds to dry and the medium with 8 seconds to dry. I do like the dry times with this ink. The scrubby for both are giving us no color variation. We're not getting any. And the smear test, still, you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on a page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, there is no problem using this in a note-taking situation because it does not budge. Now, when we look at the water, that little bit of black that moved away actually surprised me, and I don't think it's going to come through on camera. It only moved the slightest bit of this, so water's not really doing anything to it, which is really good if you like doing watercolor. You give it 24 hours to dry, and you should be able to watercolor over it without any kind of problems. Pen flush is moving just a little bit, and you see that moving off to the side there. 1/3 bleach solution, almost no effect. It's breaking just a little bit of it down. It's doing barely more than pen flush. The great news is it only took water to get this out of the pen. The next writing sample is done on life paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feathers, spread, halo sheen, no shade, no tone variation. The extra fine takes 3 seconds to dry, the medium takes 5, the scrubby gives us no color variation because there isn't, and the smear test you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, and the realm of normal was 2.1 to 2.9. Atramentis Document Black had a viscosity of 2.85, making it normal. If you're interested in how the viscosity test and all of that's done, then down in the description is a link to that video. Now, let's take a look at Apica CD notebooks. No bleeding, no ghosting. We have no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, no color variation by pen. Extra fine takes 2 seconds to dry, medium takes 4. Scrubby for both give us no color variation. We get none in the writing, and the smear test, there is maybe a chance you could recover if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. The Atramentis Document Black has an average dry time of 7 seconds, making this a really fast-drying ink. The last writing sample is done on Franklin-Christoph paper. No bleeding, no ghosting. We get no feathers, spread, halo sheen, slight tone variation. The extra fine's a tad bit lighter than the stub, but the medium's the same tone as the stub. The extra fine took 2 seconds to dry, while the medium took 3. Scrubby for both give us no color variation. We don't expect it, we don't get it, and the smear test you could not recover if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like the Atramentis Document Black, I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I decided to go ahead and put a blue ink with it, and I chose the Atramentis Jules Verne, or Deep Sea Blue. Now, if you'd prefer a different complement color, then down in the description are links to those playlists. So what do I think of the Atramentis Document Black? In general, I didn't enjoy it, but it is very permanent and rather fast drying, which have their own advantages. It is just so often not as dark or solid a black as I would prefer. So what nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? To get a nice dark solid black, I would recommend using a wet fine or extra fine pen. I hope you got something out of this video, and in the next video, we're going to take a look at Private Reserve's DC Super Show Blue.